YouTube, welcome. Against the Spread here, back with some above average, mediocre content. Today we make our top picks for week 10 of the NFL. We have NATO 7, TB4, and myself, BXStar 10. Let's recap last week. I went 3 for 4. Tim NATO went 4 for 4, and TB4 also went 3 for 4. So not much ground made up. I'm still in first place. TB4, what did you think about last week?
I went 3 for 4. The one game I lost was Tampa Bay against New Orleans. You can't expect Tom Brady to put up 3 points and win. I suspect he has a bounce back week this week. When anytime you're betting it over and one of the teams puts up 38 points, you expect that game to just blow that over out of the water, and that did not happen. So I'm a little bit disappointed on my lack of 4 for 4 performance. But other than that, it was a pretty solid week for TB4.
How about you, NATO?
Yeah, I really like. Yeah, so I really like that Baltimore game. We had them; they were the underdogs in that game, and they took care of business against Indy, a good Indianapolis team, and they won pretty convincingly. I want to stop and talk about that Raiders game, coming down to that last play where it looked like the Chargers had won it. They go to the replay, and the last angle they shows the ball come loose and saves the game for us and the Raiders. So that game was huge.
Well, they might not have ended up going to the 2-point conversion, though, because the fact they would have already been up by 1 anyway at time expiring, it wouldn't have mattered. I think.
Oh, you know what? You are right. Yeah, I think the game would have just ended there with the Chargers winning by a point.
By 1 point.
However, I did have a parlay with the Raiders money line, so I needed that.
So you covered.
And that's what Against the Spread is all about here, covering that spread. What do you think of that the Denver game?
I was very disappointed. Atlanta they just held that game the entire time. Denver just did not look good. They weren't able to push the ball down the field. Atlanta just had control. Even the score itself didn't really show how bad Atlanta was destroying them. I'm glad I ended up teasing that line higher because they ended up covering the 11 points that I had.
Yeah. Another game I want to talk about, Joe, you had the Bears under 47.5. I don't know why that wasn't our lock pick for the week, because that game was a dead under. The Bears scored a little bit at the end, but Tennessee was the better team. They played the game very conservatively, and the Bears offense looked pitiful until the Titans basically went into a shell and let them get some points at the end of the game. But that was an easy under on that one.
It ended up getting close.
So
though.
you're saying Denver? So we're actually talking about administrative error here. Oh no, never mind. We captured it. I thought I was giving you the free win in Denver plus 4.5. I thought the game snuck in. I for whatever reason thought that Denver lost 34-30. So I actually almost made a mistake there. But moving on, let's move on to this week. We're looking at Washington plus 4.5 for my picks. Green Bay over 49.5, and then my lock of the week is Tampa Bay 50.5. Washington, I'm really excited. I watched their defense, just improve week after week. So, I'm looking for them to, have a pretty strong showing against Detroit. And then on top of it, my OG hashtag the return of Alex Smith. He was named the starter, and he did really well with his opportunity last week. He did throw 3 interceptions. I take that as like a veteran shaking off the rust. I'm looking for him and Gibson and McElwain to have just a breakout week. So looking positive there. And then my lock pick with Tampa Bay over 50.5. No brainer. Tom Brady never has back-to-back bad games like that. I think Tom Brady's line, if they give him a little bit more time, they definitely cover last week. They definitely put up more than just 3 points. But you look at 2 of the games they lost, they basically they just do not match up well. They do not play well against New Orleans for whatever it is. It's a mental block. Maybe it's it could be a million different things, but they just have not played well against against New Orleans. So looking for Tom Brady to have a bounce back week. Carolina, they've been putting up points. Teddy Bridgewater's been pretty consistent. So I'm looking for that game to just be a 30-27 game and cover in the higher end of that.
Yeah. So going back to that Washington game, I do really like them to cover. They lost last week, but Antonio Gibson got I don't think he was 100%. He kind of got banged up in that game, but he's cleared to play. He'll be playing this weekend. Detroit has the worst run defense in the league, and I think Gibson's going to have a really big day and keep Washington in that game.
The only thing that concerns me about that game is that they might end up stacking the box. Alex Smith, I know, is going to be the starter, but it's because Kyle Allen is undergoing like a repair on his knee or something like that. So he's out for the season. So they had to put him in. It wasn't by choice. It was because it was necessity.
Yeah, I think Alex Smith he's a veteran. He can still perform. He'll make them pay if they stack the box. Terry McLaurin's got breakaway speed. He'll get behind the defense if they try and do that. I don't think that's going to work out for Detroit.
Everyone forgets Alex Smith was technically a Pro Bowler, pre-injury. I mean, he was, arguably a top 10 QB. I mean, he put up numbers. He lost his job to guys that, are still starting in the NFL today. It wasn't like he lost his job to any bums. So, I have a lot of respect.
I would have called Patrick Mahomes about it.
Yeah, right. Like.
Well,
what about the Ravens in Seattle?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Nato. You go ahead with your picks.
All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I have Washington plus 4.5 as well. I also have the Ravens minus 6.5 playing the Patriots. The Patriots almost became the laughing stock of the league. They just barely beat the Jets. They looked terrible that whole game. I think this Raven defense eats up Cam Newton, just embarrasses them, and I don't think that defense is as good as we thought it was. We saw Joe Flacco, really, really wing the ball down the field and, beat the Patriots secondary. And I think the Ravens are way too good to lose that game. I think they win by 7 or more. And then Seattle, they played probably their worst game of the season last week against the Bills. They got lit up by Josh Allen. They're going up against the Rams this week, and I think they're the underdog once again, +2, and I think there's no way they lose this game. They're too good of a team. Russell Wilson's too good of a quarterback to put him on a losing streak, so I think Seattle wins it. And, I think they're also getting Chris Carson might be back, Carlos Hyde might be back, so I look for Seattle to beat the Rams.
One thing I like about your Ravens pick is also on the defensive side of New England, there might still have Gilmore out. He might actually miss another weekend here. It was due to a knee injury, so we'll see if he plays. That's a big loss if they don't have him out there. So I kind of like that pick, especially if he doesn't play. All right, well. Going into my picks, I also have the Tampa Bay over 50.5. I agree with T before. I just don't see Tampa Bay getting slammed like they did last week against New Orleans. I think that's tough. They're going to have a bounce back week. Antonio Brown he's going to actually know what routes he's going to be running this week. So he's getting in the swing of things. They have a lot of mouths to feed over there, but I think that they'll be able to pull off a close one. Close upset. I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere like 30-27, 33-27, something close to that. So my next pick is Cincinnati plus 6.5, and my lock pick is the Houston over 47.5. Cincinnati, they're playing the Steelers. This is kind of like a hunch. I guess we'll see what happened with Joe Burrow, but Roethlisberger might not even be playing this week, and if he's not playing, that 6.5 is looking really good. I know this is an early line that we're projecting here, so we'll see what happens Saturday with his test and if he ends up playing or not. Houston, they're playing Cleveland. Baker's playing. I know that the offensive line's beat up for Houston, but I still think Deshaun Watson's going to be able to roll to the outside and throw the ball down the field. Houston doesn't have a great defense either, so see Jarvis Landry getting a big day this week.
Yeah, I like the over that game. I think Houston's defense is really bad, but Deshaun Watson finds a way to put up points. So I think the Browns win it, but I think it goes over 47.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's a coin flip on who's going to end up winning that game. But they're looking at the injury report also. Austin Hooper is full participant. Jarvis Landry is suiting up. there's talks of Nick Chubb suiting up finally this week, so he's gonna be back in the splitting time with Hunt. So I'm looking for that two-headed monster to come back, and that's when Cleveland's offense was really looking the best. I know they still don't have OBJ, but that was just, in my opinion, the distraction. He was a guy that was just demanding the ball, and now that they can get back to the nitty gritty and the actual basics, I think Cleveland's gonna put up some points against Houston. So I like that pick a lot too.
Yeah, actually looking at it right
Any
now.
fantasy breakouts?
We're actually looking at the line right now for the over the Houston game. I just have it up right now. It's actually 45.5. I don't know what happened, but
It's going down.
it went down. So people are betting the under here. So live real-time bet here. It moved down the line, but I still like the over where it's at.
Any lock fantasy players of the week?
I'm thinking Mike
All right.
Davis
Well,
this week.
That's
I'm thinking Mike Davis this week.
Mike Davis. I mean, of course.
He's taking place of McCaffrey,
Yeah, I think Antonio Gibson has a big week against Detroit. Worst defense, and Washington has limited weapons, so I think Gibson's in for a big day.
I think DJ Chark's gonna have a monster week down in Jacksonville. They're playing Green Bay. That's part of the reason why I took that 49.5 over. The quarterback Jake Luton, who's took over Minshew's job, he threw 150 yards and a touchdown last week to him, and I'm just looking for them to just keep building that chemistry. And DJ Chark's gonna get at least 12 to 14 targets. I mean, they're gonna have to try to throw the ball downfield in order to keep up with Green Bay. So he's my lock player of the week.
All
right. Well, there you have it, guys. Week 10, this is our picks. If you like our content, please like and subscribe our videos. We'll see you guys next week.